ZegoCloud is a cloud-based real-time communication platform that provides developers with a comprehensive set of APIs and SDKs for building real-time audio, video, and data applications. ZegoCloud's platform is scalable, reliable, and easy to use, making it a popular choice for businesses of all sizes. In this tutorial, we are going through ZegoCloud setup and develop an app with video call API in Flutter. Hi, and welcome to another video from Code Review.io. With all the demand for video calls and voice calls, ZegoCloud is the leader for this category, because they have a very simple set of APIs and SDKs for building RTC apps that are ready to use and integrate with any app you are developing. They offer a console dashboard for all your apps with a free tier of 10,000 minutes, with all services that includes video call, voice call, live streaming, in-app chat, virtual avatar, AI effects, superboard, cloud recording, and analytics dashboard. Plus the UI kit, which is a ready set of UI kits that can be integrated with any technology. Today we are going to build a Flutter app using video calls from ZegoCloud, but you need to create an account by going to this page. I have already registered, so I will show you how the console or dashboard will look like. This is an example of how the dashboard console will look like in case of you have an apps or you want to create a new app. To create a new app, you only need to go to create your project, search for which service you want to apply your app for. For example, for my case, I put a video and voice call, and then next, and then you will hit which technology that you want to develop. ZegoCloud offers you a lot of examples on how to create your apps with all the technologies. These technologies include Flutter, iOS, Android, or React Native, or even Node.js. After you create a new project, if you come back to your project dashboard, and then for example, in my case, I have created this one, which is, as you can see, it's a Flutter. If I open this, this will give us some basic configuration. For example, the app ID, the app sign, and the service secrets. These are sensitive tokens, so make sure to include them in the environment variable and not push them to the Git repo. With these are already configured, now we're going to create a new Flutter app and integrate it with this information. To get started, we need first to install some packages. We need Zego Express Engine with this version and permission handler. It's basically to ask permission for Android devices and also for iOS, and encrypt package, which is actually for encrypting, generate encryption keys for the call. The main Dart, I removed all the boilerplate, so I created only one page and called it login page. This is actually the first page that the user will see. In that login page, it is also stateful widgets, and what we need to do first is that instantiate the ZegoCloud service, and in that case, we need to create create engine, or in such a case I call it create engine, and then we need to ensure initialized, and then ask to create engine with a profile. And here ZegoCloud package asks you to create, it's provided with a class with a service to provide an app ID, the app ID from the console, and then Zego scenario default, and then the app sign. And here we need to make sure that it's not for the web, so don't send the app sign in such case for the web, and we only send it for mobile app. After that, it's basically a simple widgets or simple page. We have two text fields with this message and also login. So in order to create that, we need to wrap them with a column, and then we add text form field with a controller in such a case. And in the end, we have a button where we need to jump to the next page. But in this login page, which is a stateful widget, we need first to request permission. Why is that? Because we need to make sure that on this stage, the user will have the permission to record the voice or the camera. And for that, we will use the permission IO Dart, and in such a case we only ask for request permission and it will take care of that natively. And with that we have already the text, and the only part is that we need, when we go to the jump to the next page, we send, it's another different method I created where you have to send the context, the local user ID and the local username, and in such a case they are both the user ID and username here. Here we only, first we will wait for the create engine, and here is actually where we instantiate the surface of ZegoCloud. And then in this function we will make sure that to ensure initialize from Flutter for all the widgets binding, and then we create engine with a profile where we send the app ID, some default configuration, and also the app sign. And make sure that for the web we don't send the app sign, it's mainly for the native. After initializing the creating engine, we try to push to the navigator, which is actually going to the home page where we send the local user ID, username. In the home page it will be similar to the login page. The only part is it will have only one text field, and it will also request permission just to make sure that the permission is granted. In this text field we will save which room ID that we want to share to the ZegoCloud, that every user will join to that room. So here mainly is a Flutter implementation, so you add some elements where you put whatever comes from the login page, which is the local user ID, local username, and then you add your text field with the room ID that expected. Now when we have to call the call page, it will go to the other page, which is what we called it call page, where we send the local user ID, username, and the room ID, which is the one comes from this text field. Now in order to do that we are going to the call page, but we are sending all the information regarding this, and the ZegoCloud will take care, well, we will have some implementation in the call page where we need to instantiate the call. Now when it comes to call page, which is actually the page that we are showing after this page, we are sending from the home page we are receiving the local user ID and username and room ID, and then we're instantiating the call. So it's a stateful widget where to receive all this information from the home page and start listening event. The start listening event method is very important. It actually has some callbacks that you can listen to from Zego Express engine. For example, whenever a user is joining the call, whenever a stream is updated, and also when the state is updated. For both cases you can use all of these with callbacks, so you can integrate, for example, if I take on room stream update, it will update the status of the streams in the room. So it may actually it will take either which status of the room, and then it will add all the streams in. And the same for all the other callbacks where we have its functionality ready for you to use in case if you want to, for example, to publish your state update or on room state. And in my case I only print it in the console. The other method that is instantiated also is login room, which is very important. It is the beginning of joining the call. In such a case, we will ask for the Zego to create a Zego user where we send the local user ID and local username, and then we have also the room ID, which is the room that everybody can join. And with that we create a default config and we set the user status to notify to true, and then we have also some checks that we will include in case of web. So here we will generate the tokens, but very importantly these tokens will not be we are now generating the tokens by our own, but if you go to the production you should create this on the server side and pass it to the app. Now we will ask the ZegoCloud engine to instance to log in the room with the room ID, user, and the config of the room. Then we only make sure that for now I debug it to make sure that there is no error, and then we start previewing and start publishing. And the start preview is basically printing the canvas area here, where we actually checking the canvas view from the Zego engine and then change it with the view ID that we have. The view ID here is the local view ID is an integer where we actually changing the view of it. This will have the same implementation, kind of the same implementation if we want to stop the previewing. Here we will ask Zego Express to instance to stop previewing, and also we will make sure the local view ID is actually set to be no. In case of start publishing, we only make sure that to publish this to stream in ZegoCloud, so everybody can join that stream. And that's the same actually when we have to stop the publishing actually, and also or to stop the call. Actually, we are also having a start place stream where we create canvas view here with the view ID, and we set this canvas view to the to fill all the screen, and then we start playing this canvas area. In such a case, we need to make sure after setting this we set the view height or the view widgets here in the canvas. That will be the same actually, but converted to be stop playing stream. Here we need to make sure to destroy the canvas view after the calls is ended. So actually when we try to log out the room, or we end the calls, we will trigger to log out the room, where it will stop the previewing, stop publishing, and ask the ZegoCloud to log out the room with this room ID. With that, we have implemented some functionalities that for ZegoCloud, but now we need to test it. And in order to do that, we need to have two devices actually to test this, because otherwise you will not make sure that this is actually working. So I'm going to run this app in the Android and then try to stream between the same page, the same room ID, and with different user, so we can join the same call. So in such a case, I already ran the app in both Android and iOS, and I will try to join the call. For example, here in iOS, we will try to instantiate with this user 31192, and then let's try to log in, and then the room ID will be test1. Join the call, and here we have another user. We try to log in. The room ID will be test1, and we try to join the call, and that will be enough. That actually an example of how this will look like, because now I'm running the emulator, so you will have to see that there is a something between them. An example of this will go wrong. For example, we know already that this is a test1, and if I join test2, for example, and try to join the call, it will be something else different than what we have seen before. But for example, if I join test1, you will see that it will make some noise that imply that we are joining the same call. Now there are some implementations or development that needs to be done from your side regarding the request permission. I know that we went very fast regarding the request permission, but it's actually a simple implementation of the package permission handler. And here we will try to wrap it with a try and catch, and to ask permission with microphone request, and this will do the same for the camera, and then it will make it natively requested. There are also some codes regarding the tokens and the generation of the tokens, and this is actually where we use the encrypt package to have generated items. But mainly you don't need to use this, because it's mainly for the local development, but normally you create these tokens from the server and pass it to the app itself. So with that, we have created an app where we will make a room and join the calls for video, and also can be possible also to integrate the chat with it. And now if you face any problems, normally you can go to developers and documentation. They provide a simple, very detailed documentation and every implementation. But also important also to check the tutorials. For example, you check the platform where they have a very detailed information here. So if you see that for the video call they have really a lot of broad, let's say, support for the Android, Kotlin and Java, and it's very specific details also for Electron, React Native and Flutter, and also for server side for API reference. For example, you can integrate it in Node.js to have an API reference, and the same goes for most of the other services. Now we are reaching to the end of the video. Let me know regarding what you like regarding ZegoCloud, and let me know also if you want to see next feature of ZegoCloud to be implemented, for example live streaming and voice call or in-app chat. Thank you for watching and see you next time.